almost 6, 5:59. I'll let you know.
Just a reminder to everyone to silence their cell phones if you would. And if make sure your microphone is on for board members.
6 o'clock, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to Grand Blanc Township Board meeting for Tuesday, July 22nd. If we could all rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Clerk Roberts. Will you please call the roll?
I would be happy to, Mr. Supervisor. Supervisor Bennett, you are here.
Yes.
Of course, I'm here. Treasurer Yancho. Here. Trustee Brown.
Here.
Trustee Fike.
Here.
Trustee Hugo is absent. Trustee White.
Here.
6 members present, a quorum.
Thank you. And now I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. However, I do have one small amendment that I'd ask the board consideration of, and that is item 11A. When we go into closed session, I would like to add the following. It would be following the detrimental financial effect of the litigation or settlement that we're going to talk about. Add the following verbiage, and pursuant to MCL 15.2681C for a strategy session related to a collective bargaining agreement. So we want to talk about that in that closed session as well. Is that acceptable to make that?
Okay.
Yes.
All right, very good.
So I probably
Thank you
need
very
a second. I'm making the motion.
Support.
Second.
Okay, support by Mr.
Approved.
Brown.
As amended.
Okay. All's in favor, say aye.
Record
opposed.
roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I could, for the agenda as amended. Trustee White.
Yes.
Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. And now at this time, we'll entertain public comment. If anybody would like to make public comment, this is time and place. Just ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Okay, seeing no public comment, we'll bring it back to the board here. And at this time, we have a couple of privileged presentations. And at this time, we welcome Mr. Cliff Huff from Rose Pest Solutions to give us a mid-season update. Good evening.
Evening to you guys. We are very thankful to be back with you guys partnering on your mosquito abatement for another season. I'm going to introduce our new mosquito coordinator, Hunter Carey. He's been overseeing the day-to-day activities in our municipal mosquito programs this year, so I'll give you just a broad overview of the season thus far, and then Hunter can step in to give you guys details. I'm sure as you've noticed, we have had more precipitation this year than last year. I was actually surprised when I checked the numbers to find between 10 and 15% more. It certainly feels like a lot more to us. But obviously with increased temperatures and increased precipitation, we have more opportunities for mosquitoes to breed. The life cycle is shorter at higher temperatures, so this has led to more operations in the township year to date in 2025 than in 2024. But at this time, we're actually doing a little bit better on the call log than we were at this time last year. We have responded to more calls for service, and we feel like there's a lot of participation within the community this year, a lot of education going around about emptying out containers and breeding sites, and we're getting a lot of calls for property inspections, which is obviously our goal. So I'll let Hunter take over, and then obviously if there's any questions between the two of us, we can field those as well.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Hunter Carey. Like Cliff said, I'm the new mosquito coordinator. So far this year, we started out on the 17th in the township, doing property inspections and larviciding all standing water throughout the township. And then we moved to doing our barrier treatments on May 19th.
So the 17th of May, of April,
Was
okay.
our start date. Yep.
Okay.
And then May 19th for the barrier treatment. Like Cliff said, one of the big things I wanted to focus on personally this year was getting the community involved and making sure we can help you guys out as much as you can help us by making your mosquitoes as good as possible with keeping standing water down by cleaning out gutters, making sure any bird baths stay cleaned out, and any kiddie pools or any other buckets, stuff like that that can hold water are staying cleaned out. As of the end of the day on the 21st, so yesterday, we have applied almost 23,000 ounces of larvicide throughout the township, which has kind of helped keep us a little bit ahead of it as much as possible. We did have an increase in call with the 4th, which was kind of expected. Everybody having their big parties and everything else. So we are a little backed up on that, but nothing we can't take care of here shortly. We've done put out over 6,000 bricks, larvicidal bricks, and that includes throughout all the catch basins throughout the township. And we had help from our full-time technicians with that as well. And then we have put out 575 gallons of material for the barrier treatments throughout every call that we have been to so far this year. And we've dedicated almost 1,400 man-hours to just Grambling Township this year. So we've tried staying on top of it as best we can. Like I said, I know we're a little backed up with the 4th, but we're definitely trying to claw our way back, and we'll definitely get there. Our technicians are working hard, and we'll get there for sure. So the big thing that I want to preach to the residents is that if you are having issues, please give us a call so that way we can come out, see what's going on, and sometimes there's stuff that we may not even know about yet, even though we've been here for years, that we can come out and treat. New things happen, new low spots take place as the ground shifts, and can create more water pockets that we can treat. So thank you guys for your time.
One question that I would ask both of you is, what would be a good way to describe to a resident or somebody who, this is clearly an abatement program, right? So it's municipality-wide versus hiring Rose or any other company to come out and individually fog my yard. So how do you describe that difference and what that means?
The big thing we try and tell everyone in any of the townships we do is mainly, one, that we're not going to get rid of every mosquito. If that was a possibility, it would have been done a long time ago because of all of the diseases and everything else that they can spread. But the big thing we tell people is that a lot of times when you call a different company, they're coming out, they're going to spray the yard, and that's all they're going to do. We try and get to the root of the problem, which is their breeding areas. And that's the big thing that a lot of people, it's not the glitz and glam of the backpack or the truck fogging, but truthfully, if we can stay out ahead of the mosquitoes and keep them from breeding out, that's the big focus on actually preventing future generations and cycles of mosquitoes. So.
One other question. We have some residents that, I remember when, we used to fog every week.
Yep.
And can you just talk about, where I tell them that, environmentally, I don't know that that's possible, really, that we could fog once a week every, part of our township. I'm not sure it's the healthiest thing to do, but I don't know. Can you talk about that?
How the system is set up right now, we have light traps set out in each area of the township. The township itself is split up into 9 areas. We have some areas that are a little more prone to mosquitoes. We have a couple of traps set up in those areas, but we have a threshold. It's 10 per day. We check them every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if it hits that threshold, that's what areas we're going to fog. So we really try and limit the amount of fog that we are putting out because we do know the stigma about it. But, and truthfully too, like I said, it does help knock down the adult mosquito populations, but it's not going to be as effective as larviciding and as doing the barrier treatment. So.
Are there any bodies of water in the township that you're aware of that you're not able to get access to that you want to get access to?
Yeah, so there are definitely a few eagle-protected wetlands that have been kind of causing a little bit of a headache over on the east side of the township. But we've been able, the past about week now, we've been able to kind of work around that and keep the mosquito populations down to a minimum. But with those protected wetlands, we aren't able to do our larviciding. We knew it was going to be a potential issue at the beginning of the season, but it's also something that we know we can work around and stay on top of. So
Yeah. Well, I would just urge you, if there are areas that you're not, that are not Eagle, protected wetlands, but other bodies of water that could be treated but don't have permission or whatever, I'd encourage you to contact us to see if we can't.
okay,
Because I know there are a few areas that might have some property near them that in our floodplain or what have you, but we may be able to get permission to get on those.
okay, all right, we can definitely do that. So
Any questions?
Yes.
Mr. Fike?
Do you hit Smith Lake?
Smith Lake. So typically the lakes themselves are actually going to be too deep for the mosquito larva to breed in. A lot of times if the right at the edge of the water there, if it's too steep, the mosquito larva can't survive in it. For some that breeds in the water, they are not very strong swimmers. So a lot of times we do check a lot of those bigger bodies of water, but a lot of times you'll walk around the entire thing and you won't find any mosquito larvae in them. So anything that's moving or anything that's really deep is usually not of great concern to us, but it's still something we definitely make sure to keep an eye on. So.
Okay. Mr. Brown?
So I've noticed that a lot of the fogging has taken place in 2C, 2D, 5A, 5B, 6A, kind of that concentrated spot. And 9A, which is where I live, it's Baldwin and Saginaw. Behind us, there's tons of, standing water. So I get a lot of questions about, where the trap is being placed, or maybe it could be moved, or, something of that nature so that we can, benefit from the fogging, because I don't think that's happened in our area. What are your thoughts on that?
So I do know the trap that we do have, one of the traps that we have in Area 9 currently is in the Woodfield neighborhood there. I also know that a lot of that part of especially of that neighborhood is protected waterways. So that's where we have an issue, because obviously too, if we try and fog in those areas, if the wind isn't blowing the right direction for us, we can't treat that either because of it. But it can be a little difficult because we do have some residents that are all about having the light trap, and they are a little big, they're a little clunky looking. A lot of people don't want them on their property just because of how they look. We are looking into potentially trying to get some different styles of traps too. Not anything that's set in stone currently, but some we have been doing our research on to try and do that. There's multiple different traps, such as ones that replicate breeding areas for them, so that way we can check larval counts as well a lot easier than just going out into these bodies of water and doing a dip for them. I do know that most of our fogging has been on in Area 3 actually this year. So with that, like I said, I don't want to say a lot, but a portion of the east part of the township is a lot of what that protected wetlands is. So that's why it's been kind of very concentrated over that way so far this year. And I know, like I said, we check those traps 3 times a day. A lot of the residents that do have the light traps have had them for years. We do have a couple new ones this year. I tried moving a couple of them around just to see if we could get into some different areas, see what the trap counts may look in those areas, but we're definitely keeping a close eye on them. So.
Nice.
That area behind you, Mr. Brown, we may have some access to that property here that maybe Rose isn't aware of, that we can get in there and use some of the bricks. We should follow up and just take a look at that, but I think we may be becoming the owners of the property back
Right.
there.
That's
So
kind
we
of,
can do some mosquito abatement back in that property.
Helpful.
and it also could be a good place to set up a trap, assuming the township's okay with that, but,
Electricity.
okay.
Yep, we do need electricity. It is a light trap, so what the trap itself is, just a normal light basically, and then it's got a fan in it that it draws the mosquitoes to it, and then it'll suck them down into a cup. So that's how we're able to do the trapping, and with that, we're also able to do the Triple E and the West Nile virus testing from those mosquito samples. So.
Okay.
Damon will put it in his backyard.
Yeah, I'd consider it.
All right.
Mr. Yancho?
Yes, you spoke about residents' reluctance to have a light trap in their yard. Would you like to have more light traps out? Would you like the township or put in our Facebook page or something about you can volunteer to have a trap out?
So I do know currently we have one, each trap that we have dedicated to the township is accounted for currently. But it's definitely something that I would be willing to look into, especially like I said, if we can end up in the next few years potentially getting some different styles of traps. I would love to try and get them set up in some different areas so that way we can get even more tracking and inspection
Sure.
type. So.
Like Mr. Yancho says, if there's areas where we need traps or could use more, let us know and
Yeah, for
we'll
sure.
assist with finding some locations for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay?
Any other questions for me?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, I think, go ahead.
I just wanted to, Hunter obviously gave you guys great information. I wanted to speak on a couple of points that you mentioned. Firstly, the difference between like a municipal-wide abatement program and individual property treatments. Everything Hunter said was accurate. But another side to that to keep in mind is that the larger area we are treating, the better results everyone in that area gets. When we're treating an individual parcel, primarily that's a barrier treatment which is applied to foliage around the property, but that's far from a stay out sign that's effective for mosquitoes. So that is a big difference there. Another large difference to note is the cost. Generally, Rose runs a residential special each summer for a package of 3 barrier treatments for a property, and the pricing is based on a quarter acre. The price goes up from there. And generally, that's between $300 and $400 a summer. When you break down what we're charging the township per parcel, it is orders of magnitude lower than that. So
Right.
important to note that regard as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Very good information. We appreciate it. I just want to make sure our residents' expectation, that we're meeting their expectations and we're accurate on those. Okay, with that, Mr. Limita?
Yeah, this is the time of the year that you guys get to have the opportunity to have our auditors from Plant Moran come in and walk you through the results of the fiscal year 2024 financial audit. Keith Szymanski is here, and he will introduce his team and lead you through the results.
Good evening. Nice
evening.
to be with you. With me here today is Amy Tyder, who is the engagement manager. I was the engagement principal. Dave Halasek was the engagement partner one last time. He saw the audit all the way through to completion, but he retired as of June 30th. So I will be taking over your account going forward. We're happy to be here to discuss the results of the township's financial statement audit for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2024. There were many positive results, including the fact that the financial statements once again received an unmodified opinion, which is a clean audit report, the highest level of assurance we can give to a set of financial statements. That opinion letter did include one emphasis of matter paragraph pointing out the fact that there was an accounting change implemented during the year. Gatsby Statement number 101 related to compensated absences changed how the township was required to calculate its liability for sick and vacation time earned by employees. But overall, that had a relatively small impact on the township's financial statements. In a minute, I'm going to turn it over to Amy to walk through a few of the financial highlights in the form of a graph presentation, but just a couple big picture comments first. The township's general fund did add to its fund balance during the year by about $500,000. And the legacy costs, pension and retiree health care funding, those funding percentages for the plans did increase in the year. So overall, all of the trends were heading in the right direction. And with that, I'll turn it over to Amy.
Good evening.
Thank you, Keith. So as Keith mentioned, kind of instead of going through all 100 pages of this super fun report that you all have, we prepared a graph presentation just to give you the highlights and some takeaways for fiscal year 2024. So getting right into it, I'll cover the general fund first. This first slide, you'll see a 3-year history of general fund revenue. Total revenue for 2024 was $21.6 million, which is up about 6% from last year. Property taxes does remain the largest source of revenue, as you can see by that red shaded portion of the bar graph. Your property taxes makes up about 57% of the township's total revenue, and this has increased by almost 12% from a year ago. Now, state sources, which is primarily your state shared revenue, that is the second largest revenue source of the township, and that makes up about 23% of your total revenue. So state sources did see a very small increase from 2023, as you can see here on the graph. This next slide is very similar to what we just went through, but now for general fund expenditures. Total expenditures for 2024 were $22.1 million, which is up about 4%. Your biggest increase for 2024 was in police, which is that red shaded portion of the graph. If you recall, in 2024, there was an additional $1 million in pension contributions that are kind of contributing to that increase. Overall, your public safety is about 57% of total expenditures. This last slide here, specifically on general fund, is showing a 3-year history as related to fund balance. So as of 12/31/2024, general fund had a total of $5.9 million in fund balance. Some of that amount is non-spendable for items such as prepaid. Another portion of that amount is restricted, so this would include restrictions for that previous presentation is very relevant, mosquito spraying, and also tree replacement. And then $1.5 million of that is assigned. So this year that was $500,000 for capital projects and $1 million for retirement benefits. Now, after you take all those factors into consideration, the residual amount, that's $4 million. You can see that is what is represented in the blue portion of the graph here. That is unassigned, and what unassigned means is that it is available for any future operations of the township. So just for some added context here, that $4 million is 18% of current year expenditures, which is what this graph presentation is showing us. Now, I know we've talked a lot about general fund here, but obviously a lot more is handled by the township than just the general fund. There are also capital projects and other governmental funds, as well as the DPW. All of that is part of the township. On top of those items, the township also collects about $62 million of property taxes for other entities. So all things considered, this slide is showing us that the total revenue and receipts handled by the township for 2024 was more than $113 million. Now, that being said, I think there sometimes is a bit of a misconception. The taxpayer comes up and they make their checks payable to the township, and they're thinking all of that money is kept and used for the township. Well, you all know that that is not the case, and this pie graph is a really nice visual to kind of drive that point home. This is showing us that only 16% of that money stays with the township. As you can see here, the rest is divided amongst some other taxing authorities. You'll see the largest here, schools, the county, etc.
Amy, can you remind me, what is SET?
That is state taxes.
Is that, okay.
Now, going into the last couple of slides, I know Keith kind of mentioned long-term legacy costs to kind of start out the presentation. These last couple of slides go more into detail on long-term legacy costs, and this one is first starting with pension. So these slides do have a lot of information, so I can break down some highlights here for you. You may be first looking along at the dates on the bottom here and kind of questioning why the bars only go through 2023. Well, you may recall that the measurement date for the pension plan is actually 12/31/2023 because that is the most recent available information from MERS. Now, getting into some numbers here, your net position increased by $4 million The total liability also increased by 3.5 million, and the net of this resulted in the pension liability decreasing by 488,000, so about $500,000 there. Over the years, we have shown here the actuarial determined contribution that has been increasing. It increased from, at the very beginning here, that's 893,000, it's going up to, pushing 1.3 million now. On top of this graph is a nice visual showing that the township has been making excess contributions on top of the required contributions. So most recently, $1 million was contributed both towards 2023 and 2024. The very last line here on the breakout, that's the funded ratio. The funding ratio is a measure of the total pension liability compared to the actual net position or assets in the trust. Overall, you can see the funded ratio is trending upward, as Keith mentioned. As of December 31st, 2023, the township is 69% funded, which is up from 65% in the prior year. So lastly, moving into OPEB, or retiree health care. Again, this is a very similar graph to what we went through with pension. For 2024, the net OPEB liability did decrease by $1 million, which is a factor of net position increasing 2.8 million and the total liability increasing by less than that of 1.7 million. As you can see, there's kind of a bit of a contrasting story to what I just told for pension, that these slides are reflecting. The actuarial determined contribution for OPEB has actually been decreasing significantly over the past few years presented in this graph. The plan is actually at a funded ratio of 100%, which is up from 96% in the prior year, all very high numbers, overall very well funded. Really few communities can boast at these funding percentages for their long-term legacy costs, and so credit to the board, you all, and management for prioritizing the funding of this long-term legacy cost. That is all that we had prepared as far as the slides. I think I'll pass it back over to Keith here to cover some other info.
Just going to briefly close things out with a summary of the other deliverable related to the audit, which is our end of audit letter addressed to the Township Board on Plant Moran letterhead. It includes 3 sections. Section 1 includes just one finding related to internal controls, and specifically online banking. So this is not a report on anything improper that took place, but merely an observation we had in looking at the internal control structure and a recommendation for improvement going forward. Specifically, the online banking administrator is an individual who also has the ability to post journal entries, which does increase the risk that an improper transaction transfer out of the township's accounts could take place and be covered up with a journal entry. So we recommend the township explore segregating that responsibility so that the banking administrator is not someone who has the ability to post journal entries. Beyond that, Section 2 are required communications under the auditing standards. There's nothing significant there. We're happy to report there were no difficulties encountered in performing the audit, no disagreements with management, and most importantly, no misstatements in the financials that we identified as part of the audit. So that really is a tremendous credit to Kathy and the entire finance team for keeping a close eye on the books and records and doing a very thorough and effective job in closing the books as of the end of the year. So we want to thank Kathy and her team, as well as the many other individuals throughout the township that we touched as part of the audit. Lastly, Section 3 of the letter are legislative and informational items, not items specific to Grand Blanc Township, but we thought might be of interest to the board and management. So with that, I will pause and see if there are any questions related to anything we've gone over or anything in the reports that we didn't touch on.
I want to also thank Mr. Limata, Kathy Sostak, and her finance team for the great work. Obviously, it's a fabulous report. I know this board's been very adamant about pursuing the unfunded liabilities and showing up in the financials, obviously. Not a whole lot of municipalities, I think, can show that kind of return. And just immense amount of thanks to Kathy and her staff and Dennis for paying attention to making sure that we're making progress on those and that we're not going backwards like so many municipalities. It's, what the difference is going to be. I mean, we're looking at these great graphs. I know we've shared in the past on our website, and I think we will in the future, but I think it shows the public that their dollars are being spent wisely and that we're putting it towards the right things. With that, any other board members have any questions or comments? Mr. Fike?
I noticed they said that property taxes went up 12% year over year.
I thought it was 6%, the revenue from property taxes.
Property tax revenue was up 6% compared to a year ago.
Statewide increase was 5% over the past 2 years. So
Is that why?
last 2 years, the state, because of, it's the first time in probably, 30-some years, Dennis?
Yeah, I did it 2 years in a row, but it'd been the first time we hit the max since it went into effect in like 1990.
Right. So it's twice, 2 years in a row, the state increase was 5% on everybody across the board. So it wasn't our doing. It's just because with the Headley, it's a good thing we had the Headley Amendment because it would have gone up a whole lot further. The rate of inflation hit the maximum. I don't know what inflation was the last couple of years, but 8% at a minimum. So that's what we could have been facing without the Headley Amendment. What we've seen over the past years, was low inflation rates. So people's property taxes didn't increase that much due to inflation. But last 2 years they have.
Good to know.
Yeah. Any other questions, concerns, thoughts? Mr. Lehman, any thoughts you'd like to add?
No, again, thanks to Amy, thanks to Keith for coming in and helping us get through this. But really thanks to Kathy and her whole team. I don't know if you guys really understand how much work goes into doing something. I know Keith and Amy do understand how much work goes in because it's what they do all day, every day. But for our team and what Kathy, the amount of hours she puts in and the work that her team puts in, it starts long before you guys see this report. This is really, a 6-month work in progress. By the time she starts to grab everything from the end of the year, making sure that all that's been captured, all the 2024s have been entered appropriately. I mean, it's just a tremendous amount of work. And again, we had some transitioning going on in her team during this process. So she did it, with one hand tied behind her back again, like she's done several years before. So really, to me, it's just a thank you to Kathy for what she does so that we get the kind of results we get and that they're accurate and well represented. And thank you, Keith and Amy, for your kind words about her team.
What's amazing too, Mr. Lehman, is you look at, that total revenue that comes through here. Obviously, we don't keep all of it. It goes off to other county and state entities. But just the mere fact, keeping track of all those dollars coming through here and handling those correctly, but then also all the moving parts with all our different departments and all the individuals that, we have to make sure, getting receipts back, as simple as that, but, tracking every dollar and to have a report come back this clean when you're handling that many dollars is remarkable, and great credit to our all of our departments for helping with that effort. So, well, thank you very much. And yes, I see how much work goes into it. At least I see the team that you have here from Plant Moran, each year, and I see our finance department trying to pull things together even prior to the team being here from Plant Moran. So, thanks to your people as well.
Thank you. Great working with the township.
And I think some of these charts we definitely will post on social media. Nothing to be shy about with these reports.
Item 6.
Okay, so with that, moving on to approval of the consent agenda, I'll entertain a motion for that. Mr. Fike, supported by Mr. White.
Motion by Fike, supported by White on the consent agenda. Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Under old business, I know one of the things in our strategic plan that we had discussed was a number of objectives that we have within that strategic plan. I think we have about 4 main headings, and part of those are that we want to, in addition to working with our staff to accomplish those, we want to see about working with county agencies to help us with furthering some of our strategic goals as well. I know that Dennis and I are going to sit down and talk about some recommendations, because I believe the committees will not only be of a couple of board members on each committee, but probably some department heads and maybe staff on those as well. If you would like to participate in any particular one of these committees, I'd ask that you let Mr. Leamet or myself know about that. And we probably will probably have to even it out a little bit, because there may be some committees that everybody wants to serve on and maybe others that nobody wants to. So if you have a preference, I'd ask that you let us know. I think what we can do is email out to you what the objective will be for each of the committees, so that people have a clear idea of what will be involved. Any questions or comments? Mr. Leamet, anything to add to that?
No, really, ball's in your court. This is one of the things that was identified in the work session that you guys held back in May. And, a big part of this thing is making sure that we have the outreach to the other, especially to our county board of commissioners, but to other agencies as well, so that our voices are being represented, and especially elected official to elected official, I think goes a long way in being able to maybe move the needle a little bit on some of the areas. You got Senior Center Director Misty Moen here. I know that she would love to have your voices heard when it comes to senior center services, and you guys have heard me rail about it before, but we send over $2 million, we get back $206,000. And it's never indexed for inflation. It just, until every few years, we schedule a meeting, we go down there, we complain enough that they take a look at us, and then they move it forward. But in the meantime, our costs go up, our healthcare costs go up, our employee wages costs go up, our utilities go up, and yet we've got to fight with the county, every 3 years or so or longer to get them to move the needle. I truly don't understand how we can send $2 million over and get $206,000 back and still have to fight just to get indexed for inflation, so that we can take care of the employees who are running those senior centers. And you don't have to, I'll get off my soapbox, but have the conversation with Misty, and she'd be happy to share some additional information with you guys.
Well, Mr. Leamet, one of the things that you'd mentioned is, not indexed for inflation. So Mr. Fike brought up, the fact that just the state increase in property taxes that we've seen over the past 2 years. I don't know what we've been able to increase the wages at the senior center or what, but I know the costs have gone up more than 5%, just without giving out any increase in pay. Just the cost of operating the senior center goes up each year. But, it seems to me that those funds would be indexed to something, so that rather than just a flat rate each year, we have probably more seniors each year too, or more people qualifying for senior services, being that we have an aging county. And it seems like the funds coming back to us would be commensurate. So I think that's probably the case with most of the county millages, that we should get a percentage. Yes?
We seem to have this discussion every year. What's the answer?
Well, I think the committees, as we said, are going to be key to helping us do that. So
right.
Whoever signs up to be on the committee to talk about, for example, the enhanced parks and recreation and community center, and talking about, and within that, enhanced youth and senior programs, I think it means going to the county and saying, hey, how do we make this a little bit more fair? I like how the Saginaw County did their recent road millage in the past year, that they gave each community within the county the amount that they collected, and it's going directly back to each of those communities. So, of course, it encouraged people to vote for it, because they knew they weren't funding somebody else's roads. They were funding their own municipalities. So I agree there needs to be, money overall for administering the program, but there needs to be some equity in terms of how much we collect and how much we get back as well. And I think the committees are set up to do that, Mr. Fike. That we're going to do more than just talk about it here. We're going to actually have committees that help lobby to do that. Clerk Robertson?
No, I have nothing. I'm sorry.
Okay. Anything? Okay. So let's, Mr. Lehman and I will send out a list of the various committees we're looking at, and probably be based around each one of the strategic goals that we have. And we may have to say no to a few people and put you where we think you might be the best asset, because we may have a few people all wanting to be on the same committee. So,
There's
yes.
six committees here, so we'll
how
be
we-
probably on 2 each.
Well, what are you looking at, Mr. Fike?
Oh, I was looking at the explanation of topic, where it said Senior Center Services, Genesee County Parks, 911 Consortium, Henry Ford, Genesee County. Is that not it?
There may be a few that we can lump together from there.
Okay. All right, well, we'll get a list. And
Yes.
Are we expected to sign up for 2 or 1?
I would think 2, probably. What do you think, Mr. Lehman?
Yeah, I mean, I put these together as suggested committees because they are kind of tied in with strategic plan items that came up during the work session that said these were some objectives that you guys wanted to accomplish. But I think you can, and probably will serve on more than one for sure. Maybe you're going to alternate some, just depending on how the schedules work out. Do you have to go to every county board meeting? Do you have to go to every road commission meeting? The answer is no, but there's going to be certain times where the committee needs to come together, go and advocate for something from the township, and then come back and report to the board on, on what you heard or what you saw or the success of the committee and getting the word out. So these were just suggestions. There may be others that I didn't think of that you guys are thinking that need to be formed so that you've got an advocate or a voice with, one of the other county agencies. But I thought this would be a helpful starting point.
Very good.
Okay.
Item 8A, Mr. Stewart.
Moving on to new business, the board will consider a motion to reschedule the next meeting from August 5th to August 6th, 2025. The National Night Out is happening on the 5th.
The election.
And also, we have a very important election happening that day as well. So hopefully they come to vote and then they go to the National Night Out, right?
There you go.
So is there a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay.
Second.
Mr., I think there's,
Was this going to be at 6 o'clock? I can't do it at 6 that night. Would people be willing to do it at 5 o'clock? Or, I mean, if everyone else can do it, I guess I just,
on August 6th, do it at 5 o'clock, Mr. White?
but that's the only time I could do it. But I mean, if everyone else can or people can't, then I just won't be in the meeting. So
I can't do either date.
You can't do either date? Okay. And actually, I'm going to be out of town on that date as well, on the 6th. So
Do we have a quorum?
if we do it at 5 o'clock, it looks like we probably would. If,
I'll be there.
You offered an alternative to do it at the police station.
Well, we need,
Well,
During National Night Out
yeah,
is the
the
problem.
police station, it'll be kind of
Crowded with
crazy over
cars
there.
and stuff.
we need the space here for the absentee vote.
Mike is suggesting having it over at the police, but that will be kind of crazy with the National Night Out going on. So we would have a quorum, might be on the lighter side. I don't know that we know in advance how much is going to be on the agenda for that.
And I don't know if it's an alternative to look at the Monday
Of that week,
instead of Tuesday.
what would the date, so that would be,
No.
What date is that?
that would work for me.
I'm concerned that there might be election complications. We are setting up for,
Well, we can have it in the police meet room at that point, if they're setting up in here on Monday.
Is the date Monday, July 21st?
August
I mean,
4th.
August?
August 4th, yeah.
August 4th.
How does August 4th work for everyone?
For me.
Let's see, August.
Work for you, Mr. White?
it does. I can do 6.
It'll work for me, actually.
It will work?
Yes. Monday will work.
Mr. Brown?
Looking real.
Okay.
Oh, works well for me as well.
August 4th, and we'll have to locate it over at the police department.
Right. So I'll make the motion that we move the meeting actually to August 4th at 6 PM. Does that work all right with you, Mr. White? It does. Okay. 6 PM on August 4th. There's support?
Motion by Bennett,
Support by Mr. Brown.
support by Brown. Very good. Okay, Treasurer Yancho,
Yes.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett,
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Everybody make note of that in their calendars. Item B, the board will consider a motion to approve Resolution 25-19 in support of the funding received by the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation for the Cook-Embry Pathway. So we have announced that we received a substantial amount of money from Stewart Mott Foundation, I think around $600,000 in total.
It was $330,000 for this, and then the additional funds for Perry Pathway. The $330,000 helped close the funding gap that we had with Embry Cook. So we are funded and ready to move forward.
Very good. This resolution allows us to accept the funding. Somebody care to make that motion?
We thank them from the
Yes.
bottom of our heart.
Absolutely. Mr. White, are you making the motion? Yes. Supported by Mr. Yancho.
Mr. Yancho, supported by Yancho. Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho,
Yes.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Trustee Fike,
Yes.
myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Item C, the board will consider a motion to approve Resolution 25-20 in support of the funding received by the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation for the Perry Road Iron Bell Trail Phase 2. And this is obviously the pathway that has already been begun by the county and will be completed on Perry Road with this. Is there a motion to?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Yancho, supported by Mr. Fike.
Motion by Yancho, supported by Fike on item 8C. Supervisor Bennett,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho,
Yes.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Trustee Fike,
Yes.
myself, yes. 6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Item D, the board will consider a motion to approve the MS4 program renewal contract for 2025 through 2026 with DLZ Michigan for $22,500 and authorize the township superintendent to execute all related contracts and documents. Mr. Boggs?
Evening, everyone. This is a renewal of our current contract with DLZ. They manage our MS4, our municipal separate stormwater program that manages the stormwater and outfalls on our township properties only. Townships only have to manage their own facilities, where cities are in charge of the entire storm system. A few years ago, we weren't in compliance, and like I said, we're not a storm department. We brought in DLZ, they got us in compliance. They manage the program, we have due progress reports, permitting, public education, and they've been very influential helping with us. They also do several other municipalities in the area and down in Oakland County.
So this is to manage the townships.
Correct, yes. So we have 2 outfalls here at Township Hall and 1 at Fire Station 2 on Baldwin Road. So they'll come in and make sure we're in compliance and do outfall testing to make sure there's no oils or anything getting into the environment that leaves our site.
So with the new facility that's being built, and we have a large detention pond here on the property, that's probably helpful to have that detention pond here.
Well, that actually goes into the outfall. So that retention, or actually it's called a vegetative swale, what we have on our side, on the Other side, yes, that's a 4-bay. It takes on that stormwater, and then I believe it will go out into our outfall. So we will be adding that into the program once the building is online. So.
Okay. Any questions or concerns?
Actually,
I'll make the motion, Mr. Supervisor, if that's in order.
just something real quick, unrelated.
Brown.
Just wanted to say happy 25th anniversary to you for serving the Township Board. Thought that was really cool.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to make the motion.
Okay.
And I'll support. How's that?
Supported by
Supported by Roberts.
Clerk Robertson.
Okay, record roll call. Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
6-0. Motion passes.
Yeah, congratulations on your 25 years here at the Township. Started when you were 10 years old.
But close enough.
Okay, item E, the board will consider a motion to approve the renewal of a 3-year biannual preventative maintenance agreement with Kennedy Industries for 5 sanitary sewer pump stations and 1 water booster station for $38,400, and authorize the township superintendent to execute all related contracts and documents.
So this is a renewal of a previous agreement that has ran out. Kennedy Industries does biannual inspections of our 5 critical sanitary sewer pump stations and our water booster station on Embury Road. So part of the year, they'll come in and pull pumps, test tolerances, make sure everything is working with the sanitary sewer pump station. And then on the second end of it, they'll do all the amperage testing and voltage testing to make sure these pumps are working properly on top of the checks that our guys do internally.
Okay, any questions, concerns for Mr. Boggs?
Yes.
Mr.
So
Yancho?
if we were to have a catastrophic failure, do they have any liability for that? Having done the preventative maintenance?
I mean, there's so many variables that could cause that. I mean, hopefully it's not that. I mean, it's just like working on a car. You take it to your mechanic and,
Right.
everything's good. But this gives us peace of mind and does the stuff, or checks the things that are visible that could be wear items and stuff like that. So it has been very crucial. They're doing a check and, hey, this is failure. We need to pull this pump because the impeller has pretty much rotted away. I mean, that's huge when you don't have flow out of a pump station that causes backups. That's not good. So.
Thank you.
Greg, I have one question for you. As part of our ongoing negotiations about the Kersley Creek Interceptor with the Drain Commissioner's Office, if they take over Woodfield Station, it is listed as one of the pump stations that would be included in the maintenance program. Then that would obviously be altered. We would no longer do the maintenance on it if we were to deed that over and it became totally owned by the Drain Commissioner.
Correct, because it's pay as you go. So we'll just move that out and we just won't pay for it.
Okay.
So.
Okay, motion by Mr. Fike,
Motion by Fike,
supported by Mr. White.
supported by Mr. White on item 8E. Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
6-0.
Motion passes.
Okay. You're going to stay up here. I have another question for you when we get done. Okay. Let's see here. Item F, the board will consider a motion to approve a quote for owner-furnished appliances for the new DPW and Fire Station Number 1 facility from Carl's Appliance of Grand Blanc, Michigan, for $30,519, and authorize the township superintendent to execute all related contracts and POs.
Yes, so during the planning process, there were several owner-furnished items that the township were going to be responsible for purchasing for the building, furniture, the AV equipment, et cetera. One of them is the appliances. So tonight before you are the appliance package that was spec'd out by the architect. We went to Carl's and got pricing, and we want to get it locked in because tariffs are coming, and that's going to be an increase, so.
Mr. Fike?
Did I see 6 refrigerators for this combined facility? Do we need 6 refrigerators?
There's multiple break rooms.
I don't know, maybe we do, but it sounds
Yeah,
like a lot of
it's spec'd out. This is
refrigerators.
based on what the architect is spec'd out. We have, like, you got an admin break room, you got the DPW tech break room, you have the day room for the fire department. I think there's wellness rooms,
Got a community room.
community room. I don't know if it has a fridge in it, but no, I don't think that does have a fridge in it.
Okay, so there's a motion. What did I see? Mr. Brown makes the motion.
Motion by Brown,
Supported by,
supported by
Mr.
Yancho.
correct.
Supported by Yancho on item 8F. Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
6-0. Motion passes.
Thank you, everyone.
How, Mr. Boggs, since you're up here, how is the meter replacement program going? Is that going pretty good?
It's going pretty good. We're going to ramp up here. Al's going to kind of discuss with you and Dennis, our next procedures of people that haven't responded. We need to ramp up and get some participation. So we'll be pushing hard on door hangers and then following the ordinance and the next steps to really get some compliance.
I'm hearing good things from the people that have already had them installed, actually. I've seen on social media residents saying good things about being able to monitor their water usage. It's basically virtually immediate, so they can monitor it. And if somebody's gone for an extended period of time, they can see if, hey, there's water flowing at my house, what's going on there. Or
Text them, and it'll email or text them, and they set their own parameters on it, which is nice.
Right.
What's a leak to them might not be a leak to someone else, especially
Sure.
with commercial businesses, they're higher users of water.
Yeah. Their kids come home from college, they can see how much water they're using at their house. So, okay, good. Glad that's going well.
Thank you.
Okay, item G, the board will consider a motion to accept the 2025-2026 Senior Center millage budget and submittal to Genesee County. Mr. Kimmer, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. So as you heard before, the millage dollar amount that we received from Genesee County, $206,330. That's the third year in a row, just for the record, that has been the dollar amount. So Misty has put together the budget to submit to Genesee County. They operate on a fiscal year of October 1st through September 30th. So that budget request is due at this time for the 2025-2026 budget. And asking for your approval tonight to submit that to Genesee County.
Mr. Fike?
So do we say to the county commissioners, hey, that's not enough. We've had this for 3 years. We want more. What have we made that case?
We've made that case. Superintendent Limata and I have had meetings before.
And they laugh at you?
The last meeting we've had, they did increase it at that time, and as we've talked about every 3 years, this comes up again. So that's another opportunity possibly for the committees for.
So the last time we met, actually as part of it, and we spoke about, the lack of increase. They did find some ARPA dollars that the county wasn't going to be using or hadn't been allocated, and so they gave each of the senior centers, I believe, an equal amount,
Yep.
$100,000 basically for capital improvements. And so we did a few things at our senior center to help defray the cost of just maintaining the building. So
To give you guys some context, it does cost us probably north of $350,000 a year to run the senior center. $206,000 of that is through reimbursed through the senior millage, and that does not cover capital improvements needed for the center. That is just strictly operating costs.
So the $100,000 comes in pretty helpful, or came in pretty helpful, because again, we're dipping into our general fund to help run the senior center, which
Absolutely.
I think, the problem is, I think there's a misconception amongst our residents that that millage pays for it, and it falls quite a way short.
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Yancho?
So to piggyback on Mr. Fike's comments, what could we do? What would you like to see happen with more funding?
What would we like to see happen with more funding? I mean, it would cover just the funding gap and our operating costs there.
Capital improvements?
I don't know if, yes, getting an influx of money for capital improvements would be great from the county senior millage. I don't know if that's possible. I'm not sure how the language was written, if capital improvements are a possibility. But yeah, absolutely. You know, the senior center was built in 1987, 88. So there's definitely some needed improvements.
Misty, you have something to add?
I can speak on the capital improvements. So when the senior millage was initiated.
Here, come up to the microphone, Misty, so people at home can hear you.
When the senior millage was passed in 2005, there were capital improvement dollars up to $200,000. A senior center could apply for that one time in their lifetime. We were awarded about $170,000 in 2011 for some capital improvements. But after that year, they took that capital improvement dollars away from us, from the senior center's office. That money was removed.
Are there
So was that a annual, that 200,000, I guess, was that a one-time thing, or?
The millage, the original millage language, you could apply for capital improvement dollars one time in a span of a millage life. So it would have been for a 10-year that you could apply for.
Was that in the language, you know, of the most recent millage?
That has, so in 2011 or 2012, our improvements happened in 11. The next year, those dollars were no longer available, and they've never been brought back.
I'm just wondering if it's in the millage language currently, because we just passed a new millage this, last year?
Yeah, for another 10 years.
We'll have to check that out. Mr. Robertson?
Just so I understand correctly, the millage language allowed for a one-time grant for capital improvement.
Yes, up to
You applied for the grant, the money was granted, and then it was clawed back by the Board of Commissioners?
We had our work done, our work was completed, we had ADA compliant things happening in the building, we had all new flooring put in, a new HVAC system, and several other things that were deemed by our architect that needed to be fixed, that we were handicap compliant. So we were able to complete our projects in 2011, but the next year, fiscal year that we had, those dollars were removed from the senior millage and no longer eligible for any other center to obtain.
So the dollar amount was parceled out over a number of years, is that what it was? And then they,
No, the next year, they eliminated the ability to ask for the grant.
Yep.
They were paid for the work that they were done, but no longer could you apply anymore.
okay. Thank you very much for the explanation.
Mr. Fike?
And the money we get, what did you say was $206,000?
6,330.
Does everybody get that same amount?
No, no. So there are 11 level 3 centers, which is what we are, and then there are 5 level 2 centers, and they receive 134,000. Let's see here, I got it right here. 137,923 is what the level 2 senior centers receive. We have different benchmarks. Between October 1st and March 30th, we have to have 1,000 unduplicated people come through the building. So the first time they walk into our doors, they count as 1. We also have monthly benchmarks that we have to obtain to continue our funding at that level. Level 2 senior centers have to have 250 people in that same span. So quite a significant difference in levels there. But they are smaller centers, so.
Is there a significant difference between the level of participation at the Grand Blanc Senior Center versus the others? Where do we fall in?
We're in the top group. We haven't had any slowdown periods. It used to kind of die off in the summer. That hasn't happened. So for our last fiscal year, by March 31st, we had 1,255 people walk through the door one time. And then by the end of September, which is when our fiscal year ended, we had 1,638. for that fiscal year, but our duplicated count was 33,298 people that came through the door and participated in programs.
So what constitutes a visit? Like if I walk through the doors, I mean, obviously I don't give my name or what have you.
Yeah, so anybody that comes into the building, we do require them to complete our participation form. That way we can count them for our funding. If we don't produce those numbers, that funding can be reduced. If we don't meet our monthly or or semi-annual benchmarks, then we are reduced to a level 2 funding. So that's a significant loss, and I don't ever want that to happen.
So some of the activities could be a one-time thing, others could be a 10 visit, but they only count once.
Just for our unduplicated count, one of our biggest programs that we offer that we get a large influx of new people is our tax services. We are the largest tax site in Genesee County with 12 tax preparers that volunteer their time. So we are able to push 500 or 600 people out each year for tax appointments. And it's just a huge savings for the seniors. So we do get a lot of extra people in during February, March, and the first 2 weeks of April. But we usually make our 1,000 before even taxes start, so.
Mr. Yancho?
So with an increase in funding, would we be able to offer more services, transportation?
We would be able to expand our transportation services with our current budget. It is limiting the amount of hours that I have for wages for staff. It also limits the amount of programs that we can subsidize for individuals to be able to participate in. And one worry is, unfortunately, with the new budget cuts that will take effect October 1st, all of our SNAP education will be no longer available unless MSU Extension and the Greater Flint Health Coalition can secure other funds.
So explain what that means, the SNAP program with regard to the senior center.
So currently we offer, through MSU Extension, we offer several different nutritional education programs, cooking for one, freezer tips, just basic safe eating, managing diabetes, those type of programs. Those will be eliminated because that funding has been cut by the federal government. Very similar programs that are offered through the Greater Flint Health Coalition as well.
Okay. Mr. Limita?
I think another important distinction, Misty, is like we talked about, the State Tax Commission put a 5% multiplier. We went up by 5% on taxable value, and so people saw that in their tax bill, their home. So every millage collection agency gets that bump, as well as when you're growing taxable value, like Grand Blanc Township has $100 million a year, every year for the last few years. So we continue to contribute more, which means from the senior services millage that goes to the county, their revenue has gone up every year. And I think that's an important distinction, because where does that money go when we don't get any type of bump in it down to the actual senior centers? But they do have other service providers that they add additional programs on. And that's where I think that, again, let's talk about that committee. I think this is one of the most important committees that you guys may form, is to be able to have a voice on, like, what are those other service providers? Like, why are they adding those instead of providing additional funding to the senior centers that already exist, who, again, wages went up, costs went up, and they just have to do more with less until we create enough stink that they're like, okay, fine, you guys can have another $30,000, and then that remains flat for the next 3 years. There's got to be a better way for us to have a voice in how senior services are funded. Do you get an option to weigh in on what type of service provider programs they're going to add?
No, that is controlled by the Office of Senior Services, and unfortunately, they are not very transparent with the funding for the service providers. Through some digging, when we were looking at our budgets and we had requested increases, several of the directors went to their county commissioners and said, hey, we need some more money. So through digging through board minutes, for the county service providers last year received almost or just over $600,000 in increases, and we received nothing.
So when you say service providers to the senior center, can you name off? I know some of them, but I think for the board.
One of them is alternative elderly care. They do in-home care and homemaking services for seniors. In 23-24, they helped with, what's it on the other side? No, I don't have it on that one, but they help about 400, maybe 500 people. Another one is Family Service Agency for in-home care, Family Service Agency for guardianship and conservatorship, G-Card for home-delivered meals, Valley Area Agency on Aging for home-delivered meals, Genesee County Prosecutor, the probate courts, Elder Abuse Task Force, they received $500,000. And they did let's see, where are they at? In 23-24, they helped 275 people, but that includes them doing presentations. That's not necessarily hands on the ground helping somebody through a crisis.
So the center who served 33,000 people in a calendar year received $206,000. And I think that's where my frustration runs in somewhat. Like I said, I understand the need for the service providers, and they're carrying out some very important work for a vulnerable population. But when we get locked down at that 206, and again, we're funding, we're sending over $2 million, add the city in there because we're partners in the senior, we're sending over, $2.5 million. We're getting back $206,000. We don't get a raise. We don't get wage inflation adjustments, and yet the amount of people that they run through our program down there, and that place looks great. I also, before you guys sit down, I want you to speak to the board about working with the city right now, trying to put our strategic plan together for long-term capital improvements, short and long-term capital improvements, and what that looks like, because that's something we have to participate 50-50 with the city. So we're working with City Manager Wendy Jean Buer and trying to, put a good plan together. Building official Ted Shapansky has also been involved with this, but can you speak to that?
Yeah, so we did a walkthrough last week with our DPW, Matt, Ted, and then Matt Words and Wendy through the center. Some of the areas that we have acknowledged that needed repairs or potential replacement, our HVAC unit is nearing its lifetime. For the main portion of the building. Our parking lot, yet again, is having some issues with cracks and dips and crumbling. Our sidewalk definitely could use some repairs. The windows are original from 1988. The security camera system, we don't have any type of security cameras at the center, and when we rent our building out, it's hard to tell when somebody does damage if you have a Saturday and a Sunday rental without having staff being paid to go in. Yeah.
Basically just identifying those key areas right now. We haven't put together any cost estimate yet, but we just wanted to get, the city and us on the same page with what improvements are needed out there.
Well, those are all very big items. Those are big ticket items, parking lots, HVAC system, security system, maybe not so much as those others, but it's important that we have, some of those things are good for safety and liability too. Parking lot, safety and liability as well. But I think, as Mr. Lehman had mentioned, this is a critical thing for our township. I mean, we have an aging population throughout Genesee County, and this is an area that, I wouldn't mind taking a look at some other senior centers around the state to see who has, we want to be a premier community, and, how we handle, our senior center figures into that as importantly as anything. And, I know that our residents appreciate education and are willing to pay for that. I think we need to take a serious look at what we could be with our senior center. I'm not real familiar with senior center because I haven't visited them, but I think, when Mr. Yancho asks, hey, what could we be doing if we had more funding? I think that sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees because we only have been in the forest. So I think maybe we need to do some work to take a look at other senior centers around the state.
That are really kind of sought after would be Northville and Auburn Hills. They
Okay.
have very nice complexes, and the services that they're able to offer are just top-notch.
Northville and Auburn Hills.
Over by University, Oakland University there, they sit on the municipal campus.
Might have to send Mr. Yancho to go play euchre there.
Happy to.
No, he's a big fan of euchre at senior centers.
The item you guys have to consider tonight is to approve the senior center millage budget and submittal to Genesee County. I just want to point out again that They tell us that it's $206,330. It doesn't work that Misty gets to say, well, actually, ours is going to cost us $290,000 to deliver the services that you're asking us to deliver. That's not how it works. It's how are you, here's your budget, and, what other revenue you can make, hallelujah, through, rentals or whatever, that's great. But deliver us your balanced budget, because we want to make sure we see how you're spending your $206,330. We don't get more, we don't get to ask for more. It's fixed at that 206,330.
Thank you for bringing that up, because in years past, we were able to reflect that column of what our actual expenses are. This year, to ease our burden of doing our budget, the Office of Senior Services removed that. So we don't get to reflect what our actual budget is this year when we submit it.
Convenient.
But it makes it easier. That was the reasoning we got.
Right. Well, we can see we have some work cut out for that committee to work with the county.
Is the motion in order, Mr. Supervisor?
It is,
I'll make the motion on item 8G,
supported by Mr. Yancho.
supported by Yancho. Very good. Trustee White?
Yes.
Trustee Fike?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho?
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Misty.
I know Mr. Yancho has expressed an interest in serving on the committee for the senior millage, and we've had numerous discussions, but if there's anybody else that's inclined to serve on that, please see Dennis and I, because that's something we definitely need to put some muscle behind getting something done on it. The next item, H, the board will consider a motion to approve a quote from ePlan Soft in the amount of $27,900 and a quote from BS&A in the amount of $11,240 for the implementation of a digital plan review platform, and to authorize the township superintendent to execute all related contracts and agreements. Mr. Kimmer?
So this item before you, for a few years now, we've been wanting to implement a digital plan review software platform to be utilized with the DPW, building, and planning and zoning departments, to name a few. That will allow us, to improve turnaround time and communication with developers, getting those plans reviewed digitally in-house here, communicating those through the portal, email, whatever that may be. The software itself is ePlan Soft. That is a software that sits on top of the BS&A cloud platform, so there is two different portions of it. Both need to have an integration with BS&A. BS&A is about 7 to 8 months out or so on their implementation time. They have a lot of customers converting to cloud right now, so ideally, we'd like to get this approved, get it in the queue for BS&A. It would be a 2026 project and expenditure.
So, Mr. Kimmer, with BS&A, I know we've already started some of the conversion, right? You're saying what would be a 7 to 8 month wait to?
So 7 to 9 months for BS&A to come in and dedicate an implementation team to us
For this
for this particular
Okay.
module, essentially.
Okay.
So yeah, seven
So the-
7 to 8 months out to get it on the schedule.
So the conversion of the township currently, where are we at? Is that 100%?
Yeah, that's been completed.
Okay.
Yes, we are fully on BS&A cloud module as of this.
And we're still looking at the business licensing package as well?
We are. We've purchased the business licensing package. The first steps would be developing a business licensing ordinance and a associated fee schedule with that. Hopefully looking to roll that out at the beginning of 2026. So I'm currently working on that to get that before you guys.
Okay, very good. Any questions with regard to ePlan Soft? You know, the plans that people drop off here are immense.
They are.
If you're on the planning commission, what have you, you see the plans that they have to bring.
We're going to try to eliminate some of that paper. And
Right, that's a lot of paper and a lot of expense to our potential developers and builders and anybody bringing plans in. It could be a hurdle for some. So this, I think, is helpful to developers and to homeowners, whoever brings us plans.
definitely, yes.
I'll make the motion that we move forward on the ePlan Soft. Support by Mr. Yancho.
Okay, motion by Bennett, supported by Yancho, item 8H. Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee White?
Yes.
Trustee Fike?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Future agenda items, I think we have our committees maybe for our next meeting that we can actually have the members and talk a little bit about those. Mr. Lehman, anything else you think we want to put in there?
No, it's time to start the strategic plan review each month and moving it forward, but I think the committees, that's where we got to start, is get the committees formed, and if you guys want to create, what that committee, what that looks like, what to charge, or have the committees form, and then they have their initial meeting and talk about what their charge is, what they intend to do, when the reporting structure will come back to the board, that'd be helpful.
Okay. Moving on from there, Mr. Brown, anything to report?
Nope, nothing to report.
Okay. Mr. Yancho, anything with regard to treasurers?
No.
Clerk Robertson, anything to report?
Nothing to report, sir.
You've got an election coming up.
We do, and all is well.
Okay.
All is well.
Mr. Fike, anything with Metro Alliance? Okay. Mr. White? Just real briefly, just a shout out to both the fire and police department for, and really all the departments that put together reports for the board. They're in the packets, and I know a lot of work goes into preparing these packets from all the departments. And I know Ms. Roberts, Mr. Limita, Mr. Kimmer put a lot of effort into having our agenda and our packets together, and just want to say thanks that, our board, I know, does look over all those reports and what have you, and we appreciate the effort you put into it. With that, Mr. Limina?
Yeah, we've got the annual budget process now that we've put last year's annual financial report behind us. We're in full swing. That memo and the materials have gone out to all of the department heads, as well as the board officers who are also have statutory departments that they're responsible for. They'll be working with their deputies on completing those budgets. It's a tight time frame. They have to have them back turned in by August 1st. That will give myself and Finance Director Kathy Sosak the opportunity to sit down and go through the initial requests. I will go through and make notes and probably make some cuts and changes to the budgets that are delivered to me from the department heads. We start meeting with them the mid part of August, so that we can complete those in 1 week, and that gives us a little over a week to be able to put the final numbers together and get the budget to balance. It will be before you, no later, like always, in electronic format by September 1st, with the hard copy format to follow for your next meeting.
Okay, thank you. And I know a lot of work goes into that as well, putting that whole budget together.
The other thing that I sent out yesterday was the MERS defined benefit pension actuarial valuation report. Again, good news to report, that additional $1 million. We started putting that money into that surplus account about, 7, 8 years ago, and it's having an impact. We're 74% funded in that plan. That's important because, like I said in my email that I sent out to the board, you still see our annual costs going up, and that's going to continue. We knew that when we stopped the plan. Every time somebody retires, we have one less person paying into that plan. But I think we did the right thing, as you know, because closing the plan is going to help us get to that 100% funding level. The actuarial projection at this point, and they're using 6.93% as the return on the investment if that were to remain stable, and we didn't put any additional money into the surplus account like we have been. This projection was still that it would be 100% funded based on those assumptions by 2035. That's great news. Great news on the OPEB that we heard for retiree health care from our auditors tonight, but it'd be nice if we're 100% funded and we get rid of those legacy costs. We just have to keep working on it. We are projected to put an additional $1 million on it at the end of this year for the defined benefit pension plan. If we are able to continue to do that and we're successful financially, that allows us to do that with the excess reserves from the general fund. And one of the things I wanted to point out, they didn't point it out, but they showed that at the reserve balance at 18%, board mandated at 12%. But I've asked for the last couple of years to push that reserve up a little higher just because of uncertainty in the economy. I think that it's smarter for us to hold it slightly higher. We haven't changed the mandated amount, and the board could do that when we start to review those policies. But I think it's unmandated. We're mandated at 12, but we're holding an 18% reserve balance. That makes us more financially viable. I think that's important. But as long as we continue to keep doing that, we continue to put additional funds into that surplus account, we could be 100% funded, economy stays strong, the market doesn't tank on us prior to 2035, and that would be an awesome feeling.
It would be awesome, and glad you brought both those things up. But I think the 18%, our committee or executive committee felt that was appropriate, and we'll keep it at that for now.
I can have the MERS representative come in at a meeting and walk through the valuation report at any time if you think it will be just helpful for the board, and he can answer some questions about how we're doing compared to the rest of their accounts, in the state of Michigan. But I feel very positive that we continue to grow, and the 74% funded is a good indication of that.
We'll keep our fingers crossed that the market goes in the right direction for the next 10 years, and we'll have this beast under control. Hey, what is going on with our Little League, Mr. Leavitt? I've heard that we have an outstanding team that's headed out of state to play in, is it the Little League
World Series? So the District 4 champions, they play. It's a Little League seniors. They play out of Bicentennial. We're excited that they went and won the state championship again, just like they did last year. Then they went down to Kentucky and they won regionals. And they not only won regionals, but the scores were like 15-0, 13-0. I mean, they rolled through regionals, including taking out last year's World Series champions. They leave on Friday for Delaware, where they are going to compete over the next 9 days after that with teams from all over the world for the World Series, Little League World Series champions. So that's really exciting. Hopefully they bring back a World Series championship, and I can't wait to put the sign up at Bicentennial Park, home of Little League World Series champions.
Yeah, so 9 days, though, they compete in Delaware.
And they will be on ESPN, so you can tune in. Also, the athletics and programming director, Senya, will be accompanying the team as a coach, and she will be as coach liaison and player liaison. She will be able to provide us live updates with what's going on over there. Trip's totally paid for by Little League.
Well, we should make sure we let folks know where they can watch this on ESPN, when and where, so that
try to make sure it's a big deal. We'll keep posting how they're doing over there. I know they got their first 4 games scheduled, and then once they get through that, then they get seeded and go into it. But I know they're playing. They play another team from the U.S. and they're playing Canada, and they're playing a team from Africa.
Wow!
So pretty cool stuff.
Fabulous, great. Great exposure for Grambling Township, too.
Really is.
Move on in.
Right. Okay. All right, and maybe some future professional baseball players in there, huh?
I need a motion to
With
go into
that,
closed session.
we will move on. Anything else, Mr. Lemata?
That's all I got.
Okay. With that, I'll make the motion here that basically to go into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268 1E regarding pending litigation in the matters of Andrew Rabb and versus Sergeant Aaron Quinn and others. The United States Court for the Eastern District of Michigan, case number 224, CV 13440, and Kashanta Hasamala Short versus Grambling Township Police Department and others, United States District Court of Eastern District, Michigan, case number 225, CV 121102. Upon a finding, the discussion in an open meeting would have detrimental financial effect on the litigation and/or settlement position of the township, and pursuant to MCL 15.2681C, for a strategy session related to a collective bargaining agreement. Somebody care to support that?
I'll support the motion, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho,
Yes.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Trustee Fike,
Yes.
myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett,
Yes.
6-0, motion passes. We are entering closed session at 7:30 PM.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess just for the guests and staff to depart. We will continue our slow closed session right here at this dais.